What's crack like? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So before we get into starting and sit 'em, again, a quick thanks, man. We're under review for monetization, man. This channel has come a long way, and that wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for you guys. So be sure you're liking, you're subscribing, you're sharing the video. Much appreciated, much obliged. Let's get a community rolling right now. I love the community we got with some of our subscribers. It's honestly, it's great. It's awesome. I love talking football, but yeah, man, let's talk about running backs, because woo, man, we got a hit this week between the Falcons, Bengals, Rams, and Saints. It's who are we starting out there? Who are we starting this week? That's a tough bye week. Well, let's take a gander at all the possibilities. So let's start with that Thursday night game. We got the San Francisco 49ers versus the Arizona Cardinals. Coleman, he should be a great start this week. Cardinals, they're 18th against opposing running backs. Looks like a good start, especially if it looks like Matt Breida might be out. He's listed as questionable. He didn't practice Tuesday. On top of that, Raheem Mostert didn't practice either, but it looks like he is not even the he wouldn't even be the number 2 back if Breida was out. It looks like it'd be Jeff Wilson. Still, I don't like that. They got a 4-back monster there. Really, Coleman be the only one I'd trust. And Breida, I don't expect much from him this week. Even if he is healthy, they might limit him. As for the Cardinals, man, it's Chase Edmonds, he's out. Looks like for all intents and purposes, words. David Johnson will probably be out. He didn't practice on Tuesday, and I mean, he's been listed as doubtful. Kenyon Drake, though, what do we do with Kenyon Drake? I think he's a solid maybe flex. He's a solid flex play in this. It's a tough matchup, man. The 49ers, they're second against opposing running backs, so man, that's rough. So I'll leave that up to your discretion. Let's talk about, we're going to London. We're going to talk about I have a terrible London accent, so I'm not going to try it. Houston versus Jacksonville and Hyde, man. Carlos Hyde is the lead back here. He sees all of the carries. And Jacksonville, they're 13th against opposing running backs, but still, I think he'll see some work here. He's a running back 3 at this point. Duke Johnson, though, the dude only saw 3 carries, and the only reason he was actually viable last week is because he got a touchdown, and it was receiving. So I don't know, not much to like there. Fournette, though, I think. Okay, Houston, they're 9th against opposing running backs. I think that's all out the window now with J.J. Watt. Man, he's hurt, he's banged up, he's out for the year. I think Fournette is going to be much like they have done all year. He's going to be utilized heavily in this game, and he's showed to be a pass catcher, which is what? Miami versus the Jets. Bell is still on the team. He didn't get traded at the trade deadline. Looks like the Jets are imploding as we speak. And I mean, they got a great matchup, though. Bell's got a great matchup. The Dolphins, they're 30th against opposing running backs, and Bell sees volume, which equals opportunity, which equals potential fantasy points. So, of course, Bell's a start. Here's a sneaky start. Here's a sneaky start. Sneaky start. Those are the words that are coming out of my mouth right now. Mark Walton. Hear me out. He is the undisputed starter here. The Jets, they're 25th against opposing running backs. No more Leonard Williams either. The only thing you really worry about is Balaj is the red zone back. But they're not likely to get into the red zone anyway. So that's the only place that I see Balaj actually taking carries away from Walton. So if you're in knee deep and you just need a start this week, then Walton's not a bad option. Talking about not bad options, Washington versus Buffalo. AP, man, Adrian Peterson. He's coming off 3 consecutive good starts. I mean, and this is a Buffalo team that just got ran on by Jordan Howard and Miles Sanders. They're 21st against opposing running backs. I think Adrian Peterson's a good start. As for Buffalo, Gore and Singletary, I think are going to see a lot of work. I think they're very viable in this matchup. Washington, they're 28th against opposing running backs. So I think they're both really good starts. And we've seen Singletary, he works magic with the little bit of volume he actually gets. Minnesota versus Kansas City. Dalvin Cook, of course, he's a start. The Chiefs, they're 29th against opposing running backs. Alexander Madison, though, I think he's right now just a good handcuff just to hold on to just in case something happens. In a close game, he will see less snaps, and this could be that close game. As for the Chiefs, it's a tough start, man, for really any of them. Shady, they're facing Minnesota. They're 5th against opposing running backs. So Shady, I don't know. I don't feel good about him in this matchup. But Damian Williams, I feel a little bit better about because he's their better pass catcher. He's got a little bit more of an upside. So Damian Williams, I feel a little more confident in starting than Shady. So Chicago versus Philly. Montgomery faces a tough Eagles defense. They're 6th against opposing running backs. I think there's a lot of pressure to actually use him, especially after the last game. He just went off. I think he's kind of in that running back. He's more of a flex option this week just because of the tough matchup. And if you're curious about Tariq Cohen, he's irrelevant. So, yeah, sorry about that. Howard and Sanders, though, I think they both have great matchups here. Chicago, they've been shown to get ran on. They're 20th against opposing running backs. Keep an eye out for Miles Sanders. I didn't see if he practiced there, or if they had practice, but keep an eye on his health throughout the week. Because if he doesn't play, then Scott, he's an interesting option in this matchup because that is the guy who saw work once Sanders went down Sunday. And the Colts versus Pittsburgh. Mac, man, I know, tough matchup. Pittsburgh, they're 10th against opposing running backs, but he gets the workload. Marlon Mack is amazing. He gets a lot of work there. He's been great. He's been a great get this season. And then Nyheim Hines, man, he gets just too few opportunities, so he's a sit for me. As for Pittsburgh, man, James Conner, is he healthy? He's been he's had to exit the game he's had to exit, I believe, 5 different times this season because of injury, and it's oh man, that's rough, man. And if he's beat up and if he can't play this week, I think a good play is Jalen Samuels because Mike Tomlin said he is good to go, and if Connor is out, then I think Samuels is a good start this week. As for Tennessee versus Carolina, let's get the easy part out of the way. Christian McCaffrey, you're going to start him. That's no real conversation to have there. Derrick Henry, though, has a great matchup. The Panthers are 27th against opposing running backs. I think it's going to be a run-heavy script, so Derrick Henry should get a lot of work. Tampa Bay versus Seattle, but before that, let's talk about Detroit versus Oakland because, oh, man, Josh Jacobs, easy. This should be easy money here. Detroit, they're 31st against opposing running backs. And then Detroit, is it Carson or is it Ty Johnson? Is it Trey or is it Ty? I don't know. I would sit both. I'm not confident either. I think they're both just duds waiting to happen if you put them in your lineup. Now, let's talk about that incredible Tampa Bay versus Seattle matchup. Because, man, that Tampa Bay backfield, they offer nothing. I know Ronald Jones kind of looks like he gets a majority of the work, but they ain't doing nothing. Let's be honest, this team's pass heavy, and the running backs are a second thought, if that. And then Seattle, Carson, tough matchup. The Bucks, they're 4th against opposing running backs, so it's a real tough matchup. But I think you still stick it with Chris Carson here. He's played very, very well, so it's hard to sit him. But I think Rashad Penny, in case you do have him and you're wondering, I don't think he's a no-go, just a tough matchup. And Cleveland versus Denver. Ooh, interesting. We got Chubbs. You can't sit Chubbs. Denver, they're so against opposing running backs. You just can't sit him. He's been incredible. You saw what he did against New England. Granted, he had the 2 fumbles, but he ran all over New England. And then Lindsey and Royce for Denver. You can't really sit either of those guys. I think they're both must starts. Cleveland's 25th against opposing running backs. So, again, Royce Freeman has the touchdown upside, but Phillip Lindsay has the big play ability. Green Bay versus the Chargers. I think Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams are fine plays this week. They're both very startable. The Chargers are 23rd against opposing running backs, so they're not that great. So, yeah, go ahead and get both those. Granted, Aaron Jones gets more of the work, but Williams has snuck in a few touchdowns the past couple of weeks. And then we got, Gordon and Eckler. I think they're very startable in this matchup, especially with Phillip Rivers being so bad as he has been recently. Packers are really, you can't pass on the Packers, but you could definitely run on them. They're 24th, so both good matchups. New England versus Baltimore for the Sunday night game. I think Sony Michel and James White are both fine starts in a very tough matchup. Baltimore 7th against opposing running backs. But, I mean, you got Michel has that touchdown upside. White has the reception upside. So, I think both are very startable. As far as the Baltimore Ravens, Mark Ingram, man. I know, tough matchup. Patriots are first against opposing running backs. But just look at how Nick Chubb ran right through the Patriots. I think Ingram could do that same thing. So I think he's a fine start. As for his Gus Edwards and Justice Hill, yeah, no. And for the Monday night game, Dallas versus the Giants. You got Zeke, you got Saquon. You start both of them. It's Zeke and Saquon. You spent a first round pick on them. Throw them in there. Come on, man. Anyway, that's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube things. Much appreciated, much obliged. And yeah, till next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.